Welcome to the Multiplayer Podcast, the video game podcast that has been here since the dawn of time, or close to it. Each week we break down a different multiplayer game, talk a little bit about our week, and just goof around. This week we are talking about Sid Meier's Civilization 6. Before we jump into the longest game I've ever played, let me introduce the same two people from every episode. Paul?
What's crack-a-lackin', guys? Can that be my new catchphrase?
No.
Can I start every show with that?
It's not.
No.
You know, I'm going to encourage it so he doesn't do it like out of spite. Yeah, Paul, you should definitely do it. It's really
Todd
cool.
and I were both unanimously at the same time like, no.
I like it, guys.
All right. And Josh.
Hey, guys. Todd, I'm upset because
go.
I feel like that was an age joke to start the show since I'm the oldest.
No,
Since
it wasn't about you.
Oh. It wasn't?
I mean, it was
All right,
a little
now
bit
I'm really
about
upset.
you, but it's fine.
All right.
All right, guys. Lockdown's still here. We're still all cooped up.
Yep.
We're still playing a lot of video games.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys doing?
Guys, I don't know that I'm doing so good.
Uh-oh.
This might be a cry for help. Have any of you guys heard of the TV show Vanderpump Rules?
What?
No.
No.
Do you know what it is?
No.
The Vanderpump Rules?
Well, there's
This
no
is-
but
oh.
yeah, Vanderpump Rules. Yeah, so it's a spin-off of, it's a TV show. It's a spin-off of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
No.
And I know how bad you guys make fun of me for watching The Bachelor, but I started watching the show yesterday, and I already finished all of season 1, and it's the greatest show of all time.
Are these 30-minute episodes?
They're like 45 minutes. And, you know, I'll try not to lose the whole audience here, but basically it's about a whole bunch of really attractive wannabe actors and musicians who all work as servers and bartenders of a restaurant. All right, this will tell you how great this show is. It's called Sir Restaurant, S-U-R, which stands for Sexy Unique Restaurant. Restaurant.
Oh, my goodness.
All right.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's awesome. It's basically like Mean Girls in real life who just constantly fight and date each other's boyfriends and yell at each other. It's right up Todd's alley.
No, I'm out. I was out when you said Cougar Town.
Found this show? Like, are you
it's very
just
popular.
searching like for like?
No.
Really?
No,
I've never heard of this.
It's incredibly popular.
Josh, what
I've
you
known
don't
about it.
understand about these shows is you don't find them, they find you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They pick you to watch it. Paul, I just imagine, you know you've seen The Community, right? Like, I imagine you're Abed, and you're just like, I love Cougar Town. Cougar Town's my identity now.
Look, I've never watched Cougar Town. I'm open to it. I love TV. What can I say? If it's entertaining,
right
I'll
now?
watch it.
Oh my goodness.
Look, before we move on, because I know how badly you guys want to,
Oh
let
no.
me just leave you with a couple quick things. One entire episode, this is not a joke, an entire episode is about one of the servers putting sunscreen lotion on one of the other servers' boyfriends' backs when they're all outside. And this is just the whole episode. It includes a quote from the show, things like, I want to be a pop star, I look like Britney Spears, can you believe I've never taken any voice lessons? Like, these people are so unintentionally funny, and I love it. It's a great show. If you're looking for something to watch, it's on Hulu.
Man, I love how we opened up, like, the episode for Civilization 6, which is like a highbrow game. With just TV trash.
Oh,
it's the worst of civilization.
This, if your entertainment district in Civilization invents this show, like,
guys,
your civilization's doomed.
Yeah.
I said it was a cry for help. Okay?
We need to help Paul.
It's intervention time,
Yeah.
except we can't be in the same room as Paul. We're quarantined.
Send help.
Send help.
Someone cancel my Hulu account so I can't watch this anymore.
Oh my goodness.
I like that he's already through the first season.
Oh,
Like this soon.
that was the other thing I was going to
that's
say. Not to throw Josh under the bus. Josh was about 20 minutes late for us starting the episode, and it let me finish the finale of season 1, and I was not complaining.
That's why there was no complaints there.
Yep.
Wow.
Paul, Todd, we gotta do something about Paul.
Who wants to start a Vanderpump podcast?
Oh my goodness, no. Move on, quick, Todd, move on.
All right. We have an announcement.
We do.
A contest winner for our raffle. Josh, take it away.
This review is the winner of our $30 Steam gift card giveaway. And I will read the review in my best reviewer voice. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. The title, which don't really understand, is Circles.
The Cycle podcast?
No, this was before.
Because we called it Circle a few times?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
But the title is Circles. Truly an amazing podcast. Not one that you will look for, but if you've made it this far, good on ya. Found it looking for Rocket League and got so much more. Congratulations to the writer of Circles. We will be reaching out via email and getting you your Steam gift card.
What nice words. Thank you so much.
Yeah, honestly, thank you guys a lot. These reviews really, really help us out. We'd love the show to grow. We're getting a ton of positive feedback on it. I mean, we absolutely have a blast doing it. It's fun to cover video games and give you guys some insight into games that maybe you haven't played, or just to sit down and chat about games that you have played. But the reviews are super duper helpful. Telling your friends is super helpful. We'll do more of these in the future, I'm sure, but we really do appreciate the support. Even if you didn't win, honestly, thank you for taking the time to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Josh.
Thanks.
I left a review, and I'm a little disappointed you didn't pick it, but,
employees don't qualify.
Live and learn. All right, guys. I have a PSA for everyone who owns a Switch.
Oh.
160,000 accounts have been hacked from Nintendo. So
that's not good.
If you use the same password for everything, get a new password for every account. And 2, enable 2-factor. It's 2020. You're in quarantine. You're not doing anything else. It's time to update your online security. That end of PSA.
It's good advice right there.
Yeah. This announcement's been brought to you by
The more you know.
The more you know. By PBS.
And knowing is half the battle. Oh, you guys don't know what that's from, do you?
Knowing's half the battle?
Yeah, come on.
G.I. Joe,
yes,
come on.
Thank you. Paul was looking at me a little funny there, so I wasn't sure.
Pork chop sandwiches.
I was I didn't watch a lot of TV as a kid. We didn't have cable or anything, so I was just a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Did you guys watch the web series ish thing where people took G.I. Joe cartoons and made PSAs, except dubbed over the entire thing, and just made like short, hilarious clips? It's like a guy running into a kitchen that's on fire and yelling pork chop sandwiches, and then like a whole bunch of chaos happens. Never mind. All right.
I've never seen this.
Yeah, we'll talk later.
Go. Yeah, we'll talk after this. It's amazing on every level.
Josh and I are too old for that.
What?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, mate. Well, he did say web-based series, so he lost me right there. He didn't say Saturday morning cartoons, so
yeah. Sorry, Josh. I lost you. Back on the internet.
Yep.
No. All right. Do you guys have anything else? Because I've one more kind of topic, but I'll let you guys say anything if you guys have anything else.
No. Nope. Yeah. Tell us. You got me curious.
A weird partnership, but I think it's going to fix the game. PUBG and Stadia are teaming up. So Stadia is Google's cloud-based platform and PUBG is an awful game with hackers. So it's a weird partnership.
Yeah.
But think about it. Without games being installed locally, you can't introduce hacks into the game. So if they restricted PUBG Stadia to Stadia only users, then essentially you might have like some recoil hacks from like mouse scripts, but other than that, like they can't do wall hacks, they can't fly around the map. It fixes a lot of the hacking issues that has plagued PUBG for a long time.
Or they're just not going to have a player base because Stadia is not going to be that big.
Yeah, that's the other.
There's just so many better alternatives.
Yeah,
to
I was going to say, PUBG is not the
anymore.
exclusive content that I would want for my platform.
Apex is still free, baby. PUBG, I think, is still a $30 game.
Yeah.
Well, I guess on Stadia, you're, getting that for free right now and then maybe paying down the road.
But I just thought it was a weird partnership. It's like,
it makes
I guess
sense.
Stadia isn't like a mainstream platform yet. PUBG is kind of like on the decline, and it kind of seems like both of them are grasping at like, what can we do to get in the spotlight? Except I think like this could fix a major issue with PUBG.
PUBG without hackers would be an enjoyable game still.
Yeah.
Except for like the lag in picking up weapons and the terrible shooting mechanics and the really slow paced matches, and the terrible car physics and
the fact that we always called it running simulator.
Yeah, running simulator. I guess
other than that, though.
Yeah, but other than that, I do like the sniping in PUBG. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Great running sniping simulator. If you want to crawl across a field, PUBG is the game for you. All right, that's all I have. Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Ready for the game?
Let's do it.
Here's the reason why you are all here. Let me read a description from the publisher, and then we can talk about Civ 6. Originally created by legendary game designer Sid Meier's, Civilization is a turn-based strategy game in which you attempt to build an empire to stand the test of time. Become a ruler of the world by establishing and leading a civilization from the Stone Age to the Information Age. Wage war, conduct diplomacy, advance your culture, and go head-to-head with history's greatest leaders as you attempt to build the greatest civilization the world has ever known. All right, so initial gut reactions. What do you guys think about this game?
I am not a fan of this game too much, but that's for reasons that I'll get into a little bit later. But I mean, the game itself is great, and it is. I mean, what's the genre that's considered a 4X game?
Yeah.
Right. So it's one of the
turn-based strategy.
Right, yeah, turn-based strategy. There is combat in it, but it's not really combat. I mean, there is war. Obviously, I'm the warmonger of the group. We still need to finish our game where Paul and I declared war on each other.
That was a one-way declaration, but okay.
Should we explain? Should we explain what happened? We can pull the listeners here. I was only acting in my country's best interest.
Man, that's what a dictator says for sure. He offended me personally, so my country attacked him.
Yes, I had no recourse but to attack Paul. Sorry, Paul.
So maybe we should take a little bit of a step back. So like Josh said, it's a 4x strategy game where you get to select a real life civilization. Maybe you'll pick France or Spain or America, and you get to play as a real life leader of that country. And you start the game, I think it's like 4000 BC.
Yeah, it's pretty old.
Yeah, and you just start off by establishing your civilization, and you are researching new technology, you are unlocking new forms of government, and you get to kind of steer what you want your civilization to look like. And you basically take your turn, you have a set number of things you can do, you click next turn, all the different computer AIs go, and it jumps forward a certain number of years, and you can play through the game basically with different ways that you can win. You can go military strategy, which is domination, where you just basically destroy all the other countries. You can win by going far enough into the science field. You can win by culture. You can also win by taking over the world by use of religion. Or the game can just end where nobody meets a winning criteria, and it just gives you an overall score of averaging out all of those different areas. And so you can play solo against the AI, you can play online with your friends, you can play co-op with you and your 2 friends as a group of 3 against a bunch of AI. But basically, I think that kind of gives the general summary of what it's like to play the game.
And Paul went through like a few different ways to win, but there are, like, this game, if putting it in board game terms, is Risk, Monopoly, Seven Wonders, Settlers of Catan, all in one video game. Like, the economy building aspect is very detailed. The city building aspect is very detailed. Developing units and upgrading them and moving them around is detailed and well polished. Like, diplomacy and the AI is well developed. Like, if you could focus into one area of this game to get good at it for a while before you get bored. But then, like, there's just so many different ways to play this game, whether you want to be super aggressive, but then all the enemies turn against you, or if you want to go just the science route, but then, like, you know, some civilization might try and attack you. So it's interesting how detailed all the different parts of this game are, and like they're so fleshed out, and it's so deep. But then, like, honestly, I don't do a lot with diplomacy. Like, I skip over it a lot unless they declare war on me or I want to, like, conquer someone.
Yeah, there is a lot of different elements like diplomacy, which is kind of neat because you meet another civilization and it'll give you a pop-up screen where their leader will now talk to you. So if you discover America, it's Teddy Roosevelt, and he will start talking to you, and it'll be from the mindset of what that leader would be like. So some of the leaders are a little bit more aggressive, others are more diplomatic. But the game is kind of interesting because it's almost like a retelling of civilization over time. The different countries will kind of act generally the way those civilizations did, but it's almost like where you get to go over history again, and there are some neat things that you can do. So, for example, you can create world wonders. So for things like the Colosseum, which of course was built by Rome, but in this playthrough, maybe I'm playing as Congo, and I put all my points into entertainment and culture. Well, now I can build that as a wonder, and then that will also affect relationships between countries. It's a very unique game, and it's a very beloved series. I mean, we haven't really touched on that. I mean, this is the 6th one of a whole bunch of Sid Meier's Civilization games. It's been around for quite a while.
Yeah, it's one of the premier, like, 4X games. Like, honestly, like, I used to play a lot of Masters of Orion back in the day. We were talking about that before. I mean, that's one of my favorite games of all time. And, you know, it is, I don't think there's a ton of people that haven't heard of Civilization at some point, the series. You know, maybe they played 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever. But it's been going on for a long time now. And I think that's one of the reasons that it does have so much polish, is that they've just been reiterating this game with, you know, some changes. Not, you know, the fan base isn't always super happy with some of the changes because people really get attached to, you know, Civ 4. That's, you know, oh, that one was the best of the series. But there's a reason that it's been running for so long. Yeah, one of the things I like is the units. Like, you guys heard me complaining about this. Like, I don't get the buildings and the diplomacy and all that stuff. I do like the units make a lot of sense to me. It could be because I just wage war on everybody, and so I'm more interested in what the units are doing than what else is going on. But I do like that there is a plethora of like units and strategy that you can do with those and things that you can do with them. They're all animated really well. They all serve a very specific function.
And some are unique to each civilization.
Yeah, each civilization has unique ones, right? Yeah, exactly, which is really cool. The war that you and I got in, Paul, all of a sudden you brought in your Roman legionnaires and they just wrecked me, man. And I was like, what the heck are those guys? And you're like, legionnaires. And I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, and then they just tore through me for a while, so.
All right, so what do you think this game does really well? And then after this, let's cover what we think it could do better.
This is probably telling, but when I initially jotted down pros and cons, I had one main pro for Civ 6, and it's the music.
Yeah.
The music of this game is so good. And I remember when I first bought Civ 6, my son would play a little bit with me, and he started telling Google Home to play the Civilization 6 soundtrack, and the music's fantastic. To me, it's probably the best thing that this game did. The music is fantastic, and the voice acting. The voice acting's quite good.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's why I was saying in the beginning, for me, it's just the polish of the game. I'm not a huge fan of this genre, but if I was gonna play a game in this genre, like this game checks all the boxes. Like the production, the color, the music, like you said, the voice acting is phenomenal. Like when you do meet another leader, I mean, they speak in the native tongue for that country. They're animated. It's great. One game I was playing, like every leader denounced me, and I had only murdered like 4 city-states. I'm not really sure why, but they all popped on the screen and they were
only invaded Poland.
Yeah,
guys.
and it was like
that's all it was.
They're all condemning me and being sissies about it, and I was just like, whatever, I'll kill you too. But it's great. It's a very well done game. It is enjoyable to sit and play. And so to me, that is the thing that stands out in this game the most. A lot of people joke about the one more turn, just one more turn. You hear that a lot. And I get that. Like, honestly, if you have something interesting going on, you don't want to stop. I mean, one of the games we were playing was super fun. And I mean, we played late and it was, it's like, hey, one more turn. All right, I got to go to bed after this one. And then like 50 turns later, it's like, okay, I really got to go to bed now.
Why did we stop playing? Because
you crashed.
My computer crashed. That's the only reason we quit.
Yeah. Thankfully, I'm kind of glad your computer crashed at that point. But
so that brings up like a pretty major thing specific to this game. You're not going to get through a whole game in one sitting.
Oh no!
Like when you start a new game, you save it and you come back to it. So that was something kind of interesting when we were playing this outside of the podcast. Where it was like, we would have a friend who'd be like, oh, I want to play a game with you guys. And then it's like, well, are you going to be on 2 to 3 more nights this week? Because like it's a commitment to finish the game. Like it's going to be 2 to 4 like play sessions to actually get through a whole round.
It'll just feel like 2 to 4 years. No, this is like on Seinfeld.
It's not Gloomhaven.
This is Oh, poor Gloomhaven. This is the Risk game in Seinfeld, right? Where they're like carrying it on the subway, and Jerry, can you babysit Risk and make sure Kramer doesn't change the pieces? Because this is a multi-day commitment. Absolutely.
I feel like it's longer than that. Is it really just a few days? Like, I don't know. Maybe I just tend to play a little bit slower. Like I said, it's like with RTS games. Like I said, I tend to overanalyze a little bit. But I've probably played 20 hours worth of a campaign and made it into like the industrial age, from ancient times. And it's like, and then there's 8 more eras after that until you hit like the atomic age or whatever it is. And it's like, I've never even come close to that.
Yeah, you're a little bit slow at the game. We didn't want to say anything when we were playing.
Let's do it. Todd.
Oh no,
we waited on you.
No.
So
wait a minute. No.
So the way multiplayer works is every all the human players go at the same time and they click and they make all their choices and everything. And then when you're ready for the next turn, you click next turn. Except if one person doesn't click next turn, you wait until the time expires. And we were waiting on Josh.
That's
so much.
So much.
I tried to explain this to you guys. I was trying to move my horde of catapults to take out the Aztecs.
You can set them like 4 or 5 turns. Like you can just say like go over to there, and then it would take you didn't click guys, more than one space at a time.
I do have something I have to tell you guys. I was only moving them like 2 squares at a time.
Oh my goodness.
And then I have to go back and move them 2 more squares. And then I realized, I could just say, hey, go from this side of the map all the way over to that side of the map. And then I don't have to worry about them again until they're at that side of the map. So,
all right. Josh's opinion of this game is like bull annoyed. It's done.
Seriously though, like an average turn for me is like, oh, you're building all these wonders. Immediately click next turn, and then it would be 2 minutes of me waiting for Josh to go to war.
You're
with
not
all
a
these
warmonger though, Paul.
And then he'd watch Cougar Town.
I've got dual monitors. I'm a Courtney Cox fan. I'm gonna try Cougar Town. I'm gonna report on it next week. I'm for it.
Oh yeah, war takes a while.
Yes, which is why it's fun for Josh. I tend to go kind of like equal parts science and culture. I think it's really fun to like discover these new technologies, where I guess Josh kind of just likes the combat, but yes, very different play styles. And I think that's one of the biggest cons of playing this multiplayer. I find this game to be so much more fun single player because it runs at my pace. If you play with friends, especially multiple friends, you are always going to be waiting on the person who takes the longest turns, and that can get rough.
Yeah, I mean, the saying is, like, you're only as strong as your weakest link. In this game, you're only as fast as your slowest player.
Exactly.
Like, playing Age of Empires or playing any other game, you can go boom, 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 and, like, keep on progressing. But in this game, it's like, you have to take a second and pause and wait for that person. And, like, if everyone's not on the same speed, then you're not gonna have a good time.
In my defense, those catapults move really slow.
Yeah. They do, especially through the hills.
Yeah, exactly. You know how many marshes and hills I had to push those things through? My back is really sore. I'll say this: Are we talking about what we don't like?
Yeah. Let's move to that. What do you guys think the game can do better?
For me, I had a lot of fun with the multiplayer game that we played. If it goes south, I feel like if you make some critical errors, the game's over at that point. Like, you can't recover. If I try to wage war against Paul and Paul's legionnaires come in and decimate me, I'm out. Like, yes, I could maybe rebuild a little bit, but I'm so far behind at that point that I'm really not ever going to catch up. And the single player is like that a lot too. Although I know you can go back and reload a game and say, hey, let me jump back like 30 turns. I played two different single player games. One was a decent bit of fun for me. The other one, it was just terrible. I was stuck on a small island. I was harassed by barbarians the whole time. By the time I got the technology to get off of the island, all of the land around that island had been settled, and I could do nothing. Like, it was just a train wreck of a game. And it's like, I feel like it can be really frustrating after, spending multiple hours to realize, oh, this game's a wash. Like, I'm going to have to start over and let me try another one at that point. So
yeah, that's fair. Like, you don't learn anything quick in this game. Like, everything about this game takes time and is well paced and needs to be well thought out. And then it stinks if you get dealt a bad hand. Like, you don't learn that quickly.
Right.
Yeah, one thing that I was not crazy about, and I played a lot of Civ 5. Did you guys play any of the previous ones?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I played a lot of Civ 5 too.
Okay. So one of the biggest changes between 5 and 6 were AI agendas. So basically in this game, they added these agendas that drive the AI behavior. And sometimes it just doesn't make any sense, and it kind of makes these games very, very hard to play. So, for example, Norway might come find you, and, they're the Vikings, and they're going to say, oh, you don't have a navy, so we don't like you. And then 6 turns later, they're like, well, you still don't have a navy, so we're going to declare war on you. And you might have had like all these diplomatic relations with this group where you sent gifts and you've sent envoys and you have a very positive relationship. And then just these agendas just really get in the way. Like I remember in our game when we played that epic 3-hour session, I had been spending all my time appeasing China. And then I built like Hanging Gardens, which is a world wonder. And they immediately said, why are you building world wonders? You have more world wonders than us. We're denouncing you to the world. And so the AI agendas are cool to think of in theory. But from what I understand, because I don't think I've ever finished a game of Civ 6. These games are so long, guys. I get bored and I quit and I restart. Yeah. But in the end game especially, I know I've heard from friends and from other people that there might be clearly 1 or 2 turns left in the whole game. And the AI, instead of trying to like do a valid strategy to win, they're only driven by their silly agenda. So they'll let their civilization burn to the ground because they're just angry that you don't have enough boats.
I mean, it seems pretty accurate to how the world works. So I'm all on board.
Okay. fair counterpoint.
No, I'm just joking. Yeah, I've noticed that too, because there was one where like a civilization like came up to me and was like, "Hey, you have too much stuff. You're too successful. I don't like you." And it's like, what? Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, give you a city, burn a city to the ground, like starve the people? Like,
sometimes you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Paul's probably a little bitter because the AI took over his civilization after his computer crashed in that one game.
Oh my
goodness. And then just
funny.
ruined everything within the span of like 2
So
turns.
in this game, Paul's game crashed and we kept on playing multiplayer and we are like, we'll just wait until he loads back in. And within 2 or 3 turns, they spent all of your gold, declared war against another country.
Yep.
So then you were stuck in a drastically different position.
Yeah, I mean, they really did, like, the AI completely destroyed my game almost immediately. Because I was Egypt, and Egypt is one of my favorite civilizations to play. They get all these bonuses to economy and trading, and it's very easy to get all this money. Well, all of my trade routes were all going to one country. I don't even remember what it was. And the AI immediately declared war on them, so it cut off all of my gold, and they spent what I had and completely sabotaged my whole play, basically immediately. So I guess the moral of the story is don't crash, and save often.
I think saving often is smart, especially if you're going to make a big decision on like going into a war or something like that. Save right before that happens. All right. So, this is the multiplayer podcast. How does this game play as a multiplayer game? Like, so both of you guys, I think, have said like you feel like it's a little bit stronger as a single player game. Does it have any strengths as a multiplayer game? Like, how does it feel? Would you recommend it to friends?
I feel like it actually plays better as a multiplayer game, but I know that I might be unique in that aspect because I played a good bit of single player, but I had way more fun when all of us were playing together. And it's like, maybe it's just because we were chit-chatting and like picking on each other and stuff like that at the same time. So there was more like interaction going on there, but I had a lot more fun in our sessions than I did with just the single player sessions. Like, those were just like, this is going to drag on for years is what it felt like. Like, okay, I played for, 4 or 5 hours. Like, I'm done. I'm just going to play something else, whereas the multiplayer aspect I thought was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I feel like they do introduce a, like, for game speed, you can kind of set if you want it to be fast or slow, and online is twice as fast as normal campaign gameplay, which I feel like definitely helps. Going through it like solo, I felt like I got a better experience with the game just because I could go through quicker, make decisions, and do all that stuff faster. But then I definitely had more fun playing it with friends, just because I'm a social gamer, you know?
Right.
The host of the multiplayer podcast, I'm a social gamer. So definitely multiplayer is how I would prefer to play this game.
But you have to have a lot of patience. Like this is not a game where you're going to hop in and play like a few rounds and then, go do something else. This is like, guys, I need, a lot of your time.
Yeah. More than an hour to 2 hours is a decent play session.
Yeah. What about you, Paul?
I think that it's almost always more fun to play multiplayer with other people for all the reasons you guys laid out. And I did have the most fun probably playing with Todd when we were a team going against a whole bunch of AI. Because then you can actually see what your partner is doing and you can develop strategies together. I found that to be more fun than us going 1v1v1 v a bunch of AI. Because we were just constantly waiting on each other. Yeah, there was a little bit of banter back and forth, but I don't even think any of us even discovered each other after 3 hours of playing.
No, England was in between us, and I was trying to destroy England.
Right. And so I would rather play a little bit of a co-op situation where you can at least see each other's units, make strategy, fight together. I think that would probably be the best multiplayer experience.
Yeah, I agree with that too. All right, guys. So that's all our views, thoughts, opinions on this game. Paul, what does the community think?
All right. So Civ 6, very popular game, and I grabbed a couple of reviews here from Steam. And the first one that I have here is a positive review. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's a little bit of a story here. "What's for dinner?" my kids asked. "I'll pick up some pizza," I responded. "When?" they asked. "In just one more turn, I promise." 6 hours later, the lights are off in the rest of the house. I think they gave up and fed themselves cereal. Maybe my wife packed them up in the car and left to go to her mother's house. I really don't know. I'll go check after this one more turn. Or maybe after the next one. Update, a couple thousand turns later, my wife is back home, the kids haven't starved, and I still enjoy playing this game.
Yeah.
I want that feeling.
You lose yourself in the game. Like, you always want that one more turn. It's like you invest so much into a game that I felt like, for me, it was hard for myself to pull away at certain points, especially if you're like in the middle of a battle or you're in the middle of building something that, like, you've positioned all of your troops or you positioned your cities to build something. Then you're like, one more. Okay, I'm going to get that one turn. One more. Oh, this other thing's building. One more. Oh, I declared war. I need like 30 more.
Yes, and it's very easy to keep getting strung along like that, because it might be, well, I'm in the middle of this, 400-year war, and I'm finally going to take over that city. Okay, so I just need 2 or 3 more turns to take it. Oh, well, now that I took it, I at least need to set a strategy, start what units I'm going to build, and then next thing you know, you're doing something else. And there were a lot of times, especially in Civ 5 for me, where you would look at the clock and you don't know how it has hit 3 a.m. and you have no clue where the time went, because you really do get sucked into it. But yeah, that's the first review here. The second review I really like. So do you guys know who does the game's narration in this game?
No, but they're good.
Sid Meier's.
No, it's not. It's not Sid Meier's. It's a pretty famous actor. You guys don't know who?
No.
Seth Meyers.
Yes, it's Seth Meyers.
It's someone in the Myers family. I know it.
No.
Oh, it's Oscar Mayer.
There we go.
Poor Paul. Sorry, Paul. I had to do it.
It is not Sid Meier's, Seth Meyers, or Oscar Mayer, which doesn't even have an S. But anyway, no, it's Sean Bean. So it's
is it really?
Boromir from Lord of the
way.
Rings.
He does the.
And what's Sean Bean known for in movies?
Dying.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like been killed the most. So this review is positive. I'm surprised that Sean Bean didn't die during the opening cinematic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as a big movie fan, I really enjoyed that. By the way, I just watched a Sean Bean movie, Ronin. Go check it out.
Oh, that movie is phenomenal. I love Ronin. It's one of my favorite movies.
Great 70s throwback.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last one that I have here is negative. It might not be the most PC review, but it still made me chuckle. If I wanted to be denounced and nagged all the time for my shortcomings, I would actually listen to my wife. But thanks, Civ 6, for trying.
It's tough. They do denounce you a lot. Not your wife, but the other civilization.
Yeah.
It's like, let me clarify real quick there. But yeah, the AI loves to just be like, oh, I denounce you. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like, why are you denouncing me?
Well, it won't even make sense. Like, the enemy will attack you and take over your city, and so you are still at war, and you attack them back, and you take the city, and the whole world is like, oh, you warmonger, how could you do this? And they'll all, like, gain up against, join teams and go up against you. So there is some nagging and a lot of denouncement in this game, for sure.
That one was funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. All right, so let's make our guesses for what percentage of the reviews do you guys think were positive?
Todd won last time, didn't you?
I think I won last time.
I think you did.
Todd did win.
You guys ready for this? I'm gonna drop the winning guess on everyone. 88%.
That's like the standard safe guess. That's not
Just
the winning.
Lock that in.
I do feel like half the games on Steam are 88. That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Boom.
I might start going with that.
All right, Paul.
All right, so the guess that I wrote down was 95%.
Ooh.
I know how much people love this series, and I assumed it would be quite high.
The game is really well done. It's not necessarily my genre, but I mean, it's just such a good, well done game. I'm going to say 92%.
All right. Actual is quite a bit lower.
Ooh.
It is 79%.
Oh,
wow.
People like Civ 5, right?
What do you think Civ 5 is? It's 96%.
Yeah, there you go.
Dang.
People did not like some of the changes from 5 to 6. 6, famously, the animation is a little more like cartoony. So, the animation style not everybody was crazy about. And Civ 6 got a lot of heat. If you read the reviews, a lot of the negative ones are all about the EULA that you had to agree to while loading the game. Basically, it said they were going to collect all this personal information, like your name, your email, and all of this information. So a lot of people weren't crazy about that. But what's funny is you could actually just decline the EULA and the game would load up fine. So everyone's like, oh, we'll just deny it and who cares? But yeah, I got a lot of hate for that. You know what? I don't know if you guys noticed in Discord the other day, but I actually did reinstall Civ 5 and start it back up. I think Civ 5 is a lot better.
Really?
I like it. I like the pacing. I like the animation. It looks a little more realistic. I love it.
Man, I mean, I played a lot of Civ 5 and I played a decent amount of Civ 6. I feel like it's just like every sports game where it's like another year, another game. It slightly builds on it. But then like, I feel like, like you were saying, they were trying really hard with the AI on this one. But it's pretty close to the same game.
It's very similar.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have as far as the Steam reviews go.
Todd wins again.
Todd wins
again. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. PUBG.
That's your punishment for winning is you have to play PUBG now? We like you, Todd. We're not going to make you do that. So,
are we waiting on the music?
I think so. I think so.
Where's the button?
There we go. Sorry about that. Little slow on the sax.
There was an awkward build-up to this moment.
Saxy time.
I'm familiar with that. So,
all right, guys, make love, marry, or murder. This is the point in the episode where we rank it on our scale of love, marry, or murder. I'm your host, Todd, and I'm going to marry the game.
Really?
I think it's a solid game. It's a AAA title. Like, if you like these types of games, you're gonna get your hours out of it.
Is this where we try to talk Todd out of marriage? This is where we're like, Todd, you're making a mistake. Don't do it, Todd.
Not worth it.
She's 50 yards away. You're still single, to quote. Yeah. Who's crazier, Todd to want to marry this game, or me for watching Vanderpump Rules? I'm not sure which of us has gone.
You
don't try to drag Todd into your weird shows.
You on this one. We're not doing an intervention because I like this game.
So no shotgun involved. You're gonna willingly walk down the aisle.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Like, it has a strong multiplayer. It plays slow. Like, I would rather play Age of Empires or a non-turn-based game just because everyone can go at their own skill level or like their own pace, really.
Right.
But in this game, like, you can play with a group of friends, you can play by yourself, you can get your hours out of it. Like, this is a game I've come back to once a year for like a month or two. And like, that's how I view it. It's like, will I buy Civ 7? Probably not, just because I have 5 and 6, and I'm just going to play those whenever I have that itch on, like, I want to build something, or I want, like, a game that takes a while.
That
marriage.
Is exactly why I'm going to murder Civ 6.
Yeah.
Because I have Civ 5. It's better. It's cheaper. I have no need for Civ 6. I can appreciate them trying to change it and keep things fresh, but I don't need it.
I'm torn on this one, man, because I recognize how good of a game it is. And so it's hard for me to say I want to murder a game that I respect the game itself, you know? So I kind of lean towards the make love part because I did have some fun with it, but it wasn't really, you know, like, but then I realized I just got to murder it anyway. It doesn't, I know. It's just nothing against the game. And that's what I'm trying to get across here is this is a very well done game. It's a little boring to me. I know it's a 4X game and there's a lot of stuff to like micromanage and stuff, but I have probably 20 plus hours in this game at this point, and I don't know what half the buildings do. I don't know why I go down certain like the civics trees that give me bonuses to this and bonuses to that. And like, it doesn't, like, none of it means anything to me. It doesn't change the way the game plays. Do
you not read my blog? I went in specific detail on those two
Todd,
exact things.
I gave a confession last week, so I can't do one this week. Goodness. So I'm sorry, but yeah.
And Josh is touching on a fair point. Like, this game is very detailed. You have to read a lot of the mouse overs of what buildings do, and you have to actually have a strategy. If you just jump in and start clicking stuff, you're not going to like this game at all. And I feel like that's a little bit of Josh's gamer ADD kicking in.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
I appreciate reading like, oh, I'm going to make a commercial district, and here's how it's going to help. And now once I have a district, then I can build this other thing that has to be adjacent to a commercial district or whatever. That part doesn't bother me, but the learning
or even like my city's starving and I need to build more districts that generate food, or work, or culture, or cash. Like, it is very complicated. I do want to call out one thing. There is a difference between recommending this game in general and recommending this game as an upgrade. If you have Civ 5, don't upgrade to Civ 6. You probably know that if you haven't upgraded to Civ 6. If you don't have this game, I would recommend buying it if you're interested in like turn-based strategy, civilization building.
What's the price?
But I'd recommend buying Civ 5. It's cheaper.
Yes, right. Yeah, that seems to be the general consensus. I don't even know what the price of Civ 6 is if you didn't own 5, but I guess the general consensus is just go buy 5. It's probably cheaper.
Right. So Civ 6 right now on Steam is $59.99. That AAA price.
Stay away.
Stay away. What's Civ 5 at?
Civ 5 is $29.99.
Ooh. Yeah.
I feel like those go on
that's a fair
Steam
price.
sale a lot too, though.
Yeah. They get marked down a fair bit.
I'm pretty sure
I would buy either game for $30. 5 or 6.
But
60 is a stretch for me.
Or I think the deluxe is like 80, isn't it? Where you get like
Just-
some extra DLC.
Just don't do that. Extra DLC is like you get to play what? Like
a different leader.
Yeah. Antarctica. I believe Josh said Australia.
Yeah.
It's like, what famous leader came from Australia?
How are you going to play when all the units are upside down?
Todd,
Ayo.
number one, we have a lot of listeners in Australia. And
We have dozens of listeners in Australia.
And the leader is John Curtin.
If you're in Australia and you're listening to this and you're upset, message me on Twitter. I would love to know.
And explain who
look us
John
up.
Curtin is to
multiplayer. Because I can't find him on Wikipedia. Okay, too offensive. Okay.
But before we move on, can I mention one last thing about Civilization, which is one of my favorite stories about it?
Go for it.
Do you guys know anything about the old bug that would turn Gandhi into a war-mongering nuke dropper?
No, this is amazing.
Right, I'm starting to like this game.
I'm caught up. Let's go.
So for anyone who doesn't know, one of the long-running jokes in Civ 6 is Gandhi dropping nukes on people. Because if you pick India, it's run by Gandhi. And so in the very first Civilization game, they would assign like an aggression number for how likely they were to go to war or be aggressive. And so Gandhi, of course, being all about peace, they had him set at the lowest rating, which was 1. But then what happened is, if your government ever turned into a democracy, it would lower your aggression rating by 2. Well, if anyone knows anything about old school programming, you're not going to get a -1. It would cycle back to the top and make him the quickest to declare war and drop nukes on people. So now whenever you see trailers for new Civ games, there will always be some kind of joke where you'll see Gandhi talk, and then a nuke goes off somewhere because of that old bug all the way back in Civ 1, which I think is hysterical.
That's amazing. They should have never fixed that.
Yeah.
That's a bug that should survive every game.
Yeah, that's one where you just let it ride.
Yep.
All right, guys. Are you ready for the leaderboard?
Oh, I'm ready.
I'm always ready, Todd.
All right, I'm going to go middle of the pack. 8 RimWorld, 9 GTFO, 10 Halo, 11 Sea of Thieves, dare I say 12 Overcooked 2. That's the bottom of our list. Where are we putting Civ 6?
I know my vote. This one's pretty clear for me.
I'd put it right below RimWorld and right above GTFO.
I would put it right above RimWorld. One spot above.
Guys, this game is not better than Halo.
It's so much better than Halo. It's not even funny.
Yeah, I mean,
Todd's going to quit.
I'd
the podcast
rather play.
If we keep this up, one day he's just going to quit.
Man, one day Halo is going to be like episode or like ranked 87, and then we're going to be reviewing some game, and I'm like, surely it's not lower than Halo, and they're like, nope, right above it.
The Halo team is going to reach out to Todd and say, we've been trolling everyone with how bad Halo Reach is. You're going to come join the team, buddy. You win the prize.
Boom.
All right, so Josh and I are pretty close.
I know.
Pretty close.
Yeah, I know. For me, like, I'd rather play Civ 6 than RimWorld. It's just, and I mean that strictly from the multiplayer aspect. Like, if I'm gonna play a multiplayer game, then I want to play Civ 6 with you guys versus RimWorld with you guys. I think RimWorld is a lot funnier. I think that's a lot crazier. But if I was gonna load up one or the other, I'd probably pick Civ 6 over RimWorld.
Says the guy who's using the full timer every time.
I mean,
Ooh.
like I said,
He's mousing over to see what the granary does.
I don't know all
knows?
this stuff, man.
It might provide culture.
I do know those catapults wrecked the Aztecs, though. That's what I know. So,
as the multiplayer podcast, I would put it above RimWorld. RimWorld struggled as a multiplayer game.
Oh, baloney.
So that's 2, and you put it right below RimWorld, Paul. So I think we've got our answer.
Yeah, it's definitely not top 7. I would put it below, but if both of you say above, that's a wins.
There we
We're
go.
democracy, right?
I denounce
Negative
you.
2.
I denounce you,
That's
Paul.
I'm denouncing. I'm putting a nuke on Paul. Declared it here first. Well, that wraps up the leaderboard segment for our show today. If you want to view all of our rankings, you can find them on our site at multiplayerpodcast.com. If you're interested in more multiplayer podcast content, don't forget to subscribe to the Multiplayer Podcast on your podcasting app for new episodes. We're also on Twitter and Instagram. Just search for Multiplayer Podcasts. Tell us what you think of the game, how we reviewed it, what we got right, what we got wrong, and even what games we should cover next. Like, we're relying on you guys to let us know what games. And next week, we are talking about
Valorant.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. We all got in.
Oh, no.
This game is fire right now.
Yep, all of us got
anyway.
keys.
I know.
All of us got keys. Josh, tell them what Valorant is.
So Valorant is the just absolute fire right now. Everybody on Twitch is watching this. There's a ton of hype about it. I like this game a lot. I know it may not
Spoilers.
be up Todd's alley. Paul, I know.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I know. But so basically it's a 5v5. Yeah,
Let's just
exactly. Yeah, let's do.
Put it number 1 on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
All right. No, I last. If it beats Halo, I'm quitting.
But it is a tactical shooter, very reminiscent. It's kind of like Counter-Strike meets Overwatch. That's honestly a great description of. It's a hybrid of like the two games, and it's really, really fun. I know I'm really excited to talk about it, and we're excited to give you guys some info on it too.
Yep. Next week. See you guys.
I denounce you, Paul, for your weird TV shows.
What's crackle?
No. I need to mute Paul.
Oh.